Hello, hi guys. I'm really sorry for this. It's I've been trying for the past 50 minutes to actually get this set up because I want to show you some things, some other material, and I was trying to connect the PowerPoint together with my streaming software, and the streaming software was not connecting with YouTube. I really apologize for that. I'm not the type of person who is late on things. Like I'm always on time. So I actually feel quite embarrassed that some of you have been waiting for so long. So I really apologize. If you can still stay, that's awesome, and I hope I can add as much value to you as possible. So I can see some people here. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Michaela. Hi, Nico. Oh, you're also from Greece. That's amazing. Hello, everyone. How is your day going? Oh, thank you so much, Mercedes. Thank you so much. Hi, Asta. Hi, Carmen. Hi, Sonia. Amazing that you all are all joining. That's great. Hi, Dilly. Glad you're here. Cool. Okay. This is actually great. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's get started. I will try to add as much value to you as possible, despite the delay. The goal of today is to answer questions about soap making, but other skincare as well, and to also make our own lip balm recipe hands-on. So we're gonna make this happen. And if you want to stay a bit longer, we're also gonna make a hand cream, and it's the first time that I'm gonna make a hand cream with beef tallow. Usually, I make a hand cream with glycerin and shea butter, but today I'm gonna try something new. But first, as promised, we're gonna start with the lip balm. Hi, Wendy from Scotland. Cool. So my aim is for you to basically not only learn how to copy recipes, as you know, that's my philosophy, but to also learn how to design your own recipes based on your own goals. So this is what I call type 1 and type 2 soap maker. Type 1 is basically the one who copies recipes without understanding what they are doing exactly. They just find the recipe online and they just follow it by heart. And type 2 is the one who actually understands every single ingredient and knows how to tweak the ratios in order to create something completely new. And please write in the chat if you have fallen into the trap like I have when I started out soap making, that I was buying many different oils and ingredients because I thought the more oils I work with, the more advanced soap maker I become, even though you can actually work with only 4 to 5 oils to create many different skincare products. So raise your hand if you have actually fallen into this trap of buying many different ingredients and oils. Write in the chat. Yes. Cool. Yes. Okay. Some people, yeah. So, and then by interacting with you guys, I've seen that perhaps the biggest pain points in fermentation, they have to do with oil selection overwhelm. They have to do with trace acceleration. They have to do why your scent faded. And they have to do also with dreaded orange spots. So these are some of the biggest pain points I hear from you guys have. And we're also going to tackle some of them today. I've moved to using only one oil though, coconut. Coconut, really? Okay. So you only use coconut oil for soap making, because that sounds like it's going to lead to a soap that is going to be quite drying for the skin. Um, so making a soap only with coconut oil can be quite harsh for the skin. It's good for the disease, but not really for the skin. Cool. So yeah, how many of you actually are going to make the recipe with me today? How many of you are actually going to um, get the ingredients like coconut oil, shea butter, and all the rest to actually make the ingredients? Oh, perfect. I see some of you. Okay, that's amazing. Super. Then we are gonna do it together, and what will make this experience so unique. But before we do, I want to show you something that will add a lot of value to you. So let me just share my screen here. Okay, you're gonna take notes and try later. That's also perfect. So as you know, this is the soap hub here, and I want to make a very important distinction. We always talk about soap making, okay? But bear in mind that an ingredient in soap behaves completely different than an ingredient in other skincare products. That's why I always separate the two. So we have two categories. One is soap making and one is other skincare, like lip balms, deodorants, hand creams, shampoo bars, and so on. And why is that? In soap making, you have basically oils, but you have a chemical reaction. Whereas in other skincare, you don't have a chemical reaction. You do not have lye that takes oils and convert it into soap. And if you want to look at how that works, basically, this is glycerol um, with some fatty acids attached to that. That's how our oils look like. So, for example, I can see in the chat you talk about tallow, coconut oil, shea butter, olive oil, castor oil. Um, so these in practice look like this. So coconut oil has lauric acid attached to glycerol. But here's the thing. When we have sodium hydroxide, otherwise known as NaOH, basically the hydroxyl group will attack, will break the bond, and then you basically get glycerin and soap. So you get a completely new product. So your oils do not longer exist in their original form, but they exist in a new form called soap. But that's not the same with other skincare products. And this is what we are doing today. So today we're gonna look at the lip balm recipe, and we're gonna try this recipe here with a small adjustment, as you will see. But let's first read the comments. So uh, it is 12:45 here in Australia, so I will have to take notes. Wow, thank you for staying up late to watch this live. I really appreciate that. Tallow, coconut oil, shea butter, olive oil, castor oil. That's amazing. I use half amount of water and half glycerin with my coconut oil, which seems to soften the end result. I use it on my skin and in my hair. Okay, okay, now I understand. So it's not soap you're making; it's kind of like a lotion cream you're making, right, Carmen? Then that makes sense. Otherwise, because if you were making soap with 100% coconut oil, that could be quite problematic. So let's go ahead and look at the recipe. So for this recipe, we're gonna use actually a batch size of 50 grams because we don't. Oh, it is actually a soap. Okay, it is a very hard soap. Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for joining. Okay, yeah, so you're mixing basically water with glycerin so you're adding extra glycerin to make it more moisturizing so that it's not drying for the skin. Okay, that's quite interesting. Um, let's go ahead and look at the recipe. So as you will see here, this is a nice formulation experiment. The recipe says jojoba oil, shea butter, beeswax, coconut oil, vitamin E, and essential oil. But here's the thing, we don't have to use all of these ingredients. First of all, we do not have to use essential oil or fragrance oil, and this is because lip balm is something we put on the lips, and using a fragrance oil there might actually be quite annoying. So today, for my recipe, I will not add any fragrance or essential oil. But if you want to add something, you can add. But make sure you add just a little bit because otherwise it can be quite overwhelming. Then vitamin E, that's also optional. Vitamin E is necessary, it's an antioxidant, is necessary if you want to keep your lip balm for a very long time. If you want to have it stored for like a year or something, because vitamin E helps with preventing rancidity. So it extends shelf life. It's not a preservative. A lot of people think vitamin E is a preservative. It's not a preservative. It just helps with delaying rancidity and oxidation. But if you're planning to use your lip balm in the next few weeks, then you do not need to use vitamin E. So let's look at the other ingredients. We have jojoba oil, shea butter, beeswax, and coconut oil. Jojoba oil is basically a liquid wax ester, and it really resembles the sebum that we have on our skin. That's why I like to use it for lip balm. But you can also use other oils. So even if you're making it with olive oil or sweet almond oil or other sunflower oil, it will still work fine. Then we have shea butter, and shea butter is an occlusive, so it basically traps moisture and it doesn't let moisture from evaporating. That's why shea butter is very important. Then we have beeswax that will give a lot of structure to our lip balm. And then we have coconut oil that basically adds glide and makes our whole mixture slightly less solid. Otherwise, it will feel very rubbery and scratchy if it didn't have coconut oil. And this time, how many of you, by the way, please write in the chat, how many of you use beef tallow in your skincare or soaps? I would like to know. Yeah? Cool. Mm-hmm. 2 people. So this time, what we're gonna do is that sheep tallow. Wow, I've never used that actually. Sheep tallow. I guess that's gonna be very similar to beef tallow. That's quite interesting, Asta. So basically, here you can see what happens if we substitute shea butter with beef tallow, and the main goal here is to always look at the fatty acid profile and see what happens there. So as you will see, both shea butter and beef tallow, they both have a high concentration of oleic acid. And oleic acid, please write in the comments, where do we see oleic acid mostly in? Which is the most popular oil in the world that contains oleic acid? Let's see how many of you know that. Should I give it away? Okay. Oleic acid, olive oil. Yeah, that's correct, olive oil. So olive oil is actually the oil with the highest concentration of oleic acid. And once oleic acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, it produces sodium oleic, and sodium oleic is the substance that creates this very gentle and luxurious lather. Oh, all of you know that. That's amazing. I'm very glad to hear this. Cool. Then we have the second fatty acid. So shea butter has stearic acid, so does beef tallow. So they both have stearic acid, but shea butter has slightly higher concentration of stearic acid. Then we have palmitic acid. So shea butter has only 6% palmitic acid, while beef tallow has 27% palmitic acid. Now, palmitic and stearic acid, they're both acids that once reacted with soap, they lead to an amazing, long-lasting, creamy, and stable lather. And the reason why soaps made with beef tallow or shea butter with a high concentration of beef tallow or shea butter are very long lasting is because palmitic and stearic acid, once they react with lye, they are not very water soluble. So your soap, like that, it lasts longer. So basically, the main difference we see here is that the palmitic acid concentration is much, much higher in beef tallow. And that leads in a more long-lasting soap, but in lip balm, it will lead to a slightly waxier feeling. So your lip balm will feel slightly waxier on your lips. So I personally have never made lip balm with beef tallow, but I would really like to make today because I always make it with shea butter. But if you don't have beef tallow and you want to use shea butter instead, that's totally fine. It will work perfectly fine. If you don't have jojoba oil, you can use also olive oil or other oils, uh, and they will work just as fine. So, why don't we go ahead and actually start formulating our lip balm? So, let me bring the like that here. So let's grab a bowl. Let's grab a scale. Let's wear our gloves. And let's begin. Here in Australia, many people like their products to be vegan. Therefore, I have not used tallow. It's the same with me. It's the same exact situation with me. I live in Denmark and everybody here loves vegan products. So I don't sell any products with beef tallow. And I have been making soaps without beef tallow, just with vegan ingredients for many, many years until I saw this hype with beef tallow. And I said, okay, I have to try this, see how it looks like. And I was quite amazed by the quality of the soap. Beef tallow is basically, perhaps I can show you here. Um, it's better if we look at the um, fatty acid composition actually. Let me take you to the fatty acid composition of beef tallow and the rest oils. So the special thing about beef tallow is that it has a high concentration of oleic acid, high concentration of palmitic and stearic acid. While shea butter does not have a lot of palmitic acid. So if I had to substitute beef tallow with something vegan, that will be a combination of shea butter and palm oil, or a combination of shea butter and cocoa butter. This will be the best way to substitute beef tallow because beef tallow, as you can see, it has around 24 to 29% palmitic acid. So you could use cocoa butter, which has 25 to 28% palmitic acid, in combination with shea butter, which has 40 to 55% oleic acid, while cocoa butter does not have oleic acid. So this is how you could basically substitute it. But again, whether you use beef tallow or Shea butter does not matter for this recipe. It will slightly lead to a waxier feeling with beef tallow, but I've been making it with shea butter all along and it works perfectly fine. Vegans mention, yes, of course. My basic soap consists of olive oil, coconut oil, shea, and palm oil. Wow, that's really good combination. The only problem with palm oil, as you all know, it's some sustainability issues. But if you're using sustainably sourced palm oil, then that's great. Um, Otherwise, you know, cocoa butter is also a great oil, but cocoa butter is a bit hard to find. My supplier used to supply cocoa butter and then they stopped. So there are some supply issues with cocoa butter. And then we also have mango butter, but mango butter is slightly closer to shea butter. Cool. So let's go back to our recipe here. And I'm gonna use 50 grams batch. And then SoapHut basically calculates that for me. Cool. So guys, I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited that we're gonna make it hands-on all together. The lip balm here. Are you guys ready? Write in the comments if you're ready. Let's make some beautiful lip balm. It's gonna look like that. Oops, I dropped my light. So it's gonna look like this. And it's super soft. It's beautiful for the lips. Cool. So let's start first with our solid butters. I don't like shea because it crystallizes. Thank you so much for mentioning this. This is key. There is one way to avoid crystallization. So why does it crystallize? When you cool down your lip balm, okay, when you cool it at room temperature, it cools down very, very slowly. When your lip balm cools down slowly, shea butter has a lot of time to crystallize, has a lot of time to convert into small crystals. And those small crystals feel a bit grainy. They're not dangerous, they just feel a bit grainy on your lips. So, in order to avoid that, we are gonna pour our melted lip balm and then we're gonna place it in the fridge until it solidifies completely. When you cool it down fast, it doesn't have time to create crystals. That's what we're gonna do today. What is the best substitute for beeswax? It's one that's called how is it called? I always forget the name. Candelilla wax, something like that. Candelula wax. I think it's called. Are you gonna add color? Is it possible? It is possible to add color. I'm not gonna add color in this, but if you add color, make sure you add lip safe colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 12.5 grams of beef tallow. And if you don't want to use beef tallow, just use shea butter. That's what I've been using all the time. Yes, I quench it. Wow. How do you know? Like, are you working with chemistry and science? Because this word is quite scientific. That's what we use in my full-time job when we want to basically freeze the cells. Because I work in biotechnology, I work in the field of biotechnology as a scientist. And when we want to basically freeze the cells and stop the metabolism, we say that we want to quench the cells. So if you use this word, it means that you're basically working in science. Am I right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add 12.5 grams of beef tallow instead of shea butter. And make sure you're using rendered beef tallow, otherwise it will smell a bit weird. Mechatronics. Wow, that's very interesting. Okay, so maybe that's why. Then we're gonna go ahead and add 10 grams of coconut oil. Who knows which is the main fatty acid in coconut oil? Please write it in the chat. Which is the main fatty acid in coconut oil? But I'm also trying to start a soap business. That's amazing. What type of soaps are you planning to sell? Do you have a specific concept? Um, cool. Myristic acid, yes, that's correct, and lauric acid. So lauric acid is actually the highest concentration in coconut oil, and lauric acid is also a very famous antimicrobial. So you will see a lot of people using coconut oil with a bit of baking soda and then essential oil as a deodorant. Actually, I don't like doing that because I find it a bit greasy, but there are people who use everyday coconut oil with a bit of baking soda and essential oil as a deodorant, because coconut oil contains lauric acid and that's antimicrobial, and that basically inhibits the microbes in your armpits that cause the bad odor. Wow, that's really cool. So you're making your own shapes of soaps. That's very cool. Can we mix fragrance oils with essential oils in cosmetic? Absolutely. Yes, fragrance oils are synthetic, so make sure you use safe fragrance oils that do not contain parabens or phthalates. Um, and you can absolutely mix them with essential oils. Essential oils are natural. They're more expensive than fragrance oils, and they also tend to evaporate faster. So mixing them together makes the essential oils more long lasting. You can also make essential oils more long lasting by using patchouli essential oil, something that is very heavy and will make your whole blend more long lasting. So far I've added beef tallow, I've added coconut oil, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add beeswax. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 10 grams of beeswax. And beeswax will add this amazing structure to our lip balm. Okay, so we are now 10 grams of beeswax. Cool. So now we've added our solid butters, which is tallow or shea butter, beeswax, and coconut oil. We can also add directly our oil, our liquid oil, now, or we can add it after we melt everything. I will add it now. It's totally fine to add it now. You can either add jojoba oil, you can either add olive oil, um, or another oil like almond oil, like another conditioning oil. By the way, jojoba oil, it's a very special ingredient. We do not use jojoba oil in soap. Does anyone know why we don't use jojoba oil in soap? My least favorite lip balm is Bird Bees. The balm is so hard that it tears my lips. Okay, yeah. Um, Too expensive and does not give anything extra. DOS, DOS. It is expensive, but let me tell you, actually, it's not exactly that. It's not. That's not exactly the reason. Jojoba oil does not saponify. It's basically a mixture of liquid wax ester. They do not react with sodium hydroxide. It's the same as beeswax. You know, beeswax it does not saponify with lye. That's why if you make soap with beeswax, you should only add very little, like maximum 1 to 2%. If you add 30% beeswax, it just your soap will not turn out well because it does not react with lye. It's the same with jojoba oil. So it's basically it's a liquid wax. Yeah, exactly, Michaela. It's a liquid wax, and that's why jojoba oil is not a good candidate for soap making at all. So we have this. Should we go and put it over a double boiler? I'm gonna heat mine up. So while I'm heating it up and while we wait, I would like to hear your thoughts. Like, what are your biggest pain points? I ask this question a lot. I also sent an email, actually the other day, on my email list, and I asked people, what are your biggest pain points, your biggest frustrations, and what do you love most about soap making? And a lot of people, I woke up and I saw so many emails. Thank you so much that a lot of people actually answered. A lot of people took the time to tell me their pain points and everything. So it was quite amazing that I saw so many people replying on the email and telling me your soap making pain points. But please feel free to share your pain points here. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Nico. Can you see me well right now? Please write a thumbs up if you can see me well. My biggest frustration is that all the natural colors either turn brown or disappear. You are asking the best things. Like this is the I love this discussion here. Okay, where do I start? So natural colorants, they are organic. So in chemistry, when we say something is organic, it's something that contains carbon. When something is organic, it has a higher tendency of basically degrading. That's why you see soaps that are made with watermelon juice that is red, after a while they become brown. So this is a very common phenomenon. And this is one of the disadvantages of using natural colorants. Although there are some natural colorants that are super stable, those are charcoal. So charcoal is already fully oxidized, so it cannot oxidize further. It's called activated for that reason. And charcoal lasts forever. It's perhaps the most stable natural colorant out there and creates this beautiful black color that is also an exfoliant. Now, what else? Turmeric. Turmeric also holds very well. So you can see this one, I made it a few months ago and it still looks really good. So turmeric is another natural colorant that lasts. My water is boiling. I'm going to put this on top. I'll be back in 5 seconds. So these from the natural colorants. Then we have carrot juice. Carrot juice is also amazing, but if you have it next to light, it might actually degrade a bit. So some natural colorants, if you store it next to light, next to the window, it will degrade a bit. Indigo works well. Indigo is stable, but don't expect this intense color that you would see. Like the color will not be. If you buy indigo blue, the color will not be an intense blue. It will kind of be more dark. Sometimes it goes to the gray scale as well. Okay, let me read your comments. When do you refrigerate the soap versus when to cover and let it stay warm? I only refrigerate the soap when I make a soap with a high concentration of coconut oil, like this soap that has 95 to 100% coconut oil. I will refrigerate it because coconut oil tends to overheat and crack. So when I make this soap, I pour it into the mold, place it in the fridge for 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, check it, and then take it out. If I don't, it will crack. One thing about soap making is the choice I have in choosing my ingredients. I love tons of colloidal oils in my soaps. Yes, we can talk about choosing ingredients. That's a very important topic because it can be quite overwhelming when you go online and you see hundreds of different oils to choose from. Can I just replace my distilled water with the same amount of coconut milk? Will this reduce the shelf life? Thank you. You can definitely do that. If you do, make sure you freeze the coconut milk first, and it will lead to a fantastic, luxurious, and creamy lather. So I would definitely recommend you doing that. Will this reduce the shelf life? No, it won't. Water or any type of liquid you have in your soap evaporates. So when you hear self life has only to do with your oils that oxidize because of dreaded orange spots. It doesn't have to do with what uh, lye solution you're using. So another thing is that this right here is green oxide. Green oxide is naturally occurring. It's not always produced natural, but it exists as natural in nature. And this one, perhaps it lasts forever. It's super stable. And the reason why it's super stable is because green oxide, it's an oxide, it's not an organic ingredient that contains carbon. And because it does not contain carbon, it's very stable. The same as micas, they do not contain carbon, they're not organic, they're inorganic compounds. And because they're inorganic, they do not react with lye, they do not react with anything else, with light. They're not susceptible to the high pH of soap making and high temperature of soap making. So they're completely unreactive, and that's why they're very stable colorants. And that's why this green looks so beautiful. I want to ask about citric acid to soap for use in areas with hard water. Yes, it works really well to use citric acid. I also use citric acid on my dish soap. So I use 1 to 2% citric acid, but bear in mind when you use citric acid, you should always increase the sodium hydroxide concentration. Okay, because sodium hydroxide reacts with citric acid. So you should always add a bit extra sodium hydroxide. Um, you basically add for every 1 gram of citric acid you add, you have to add extra 0.62 grams of sodium hydroxide. Very excited for this. So our lip balm is almost melted. We're gonna place it in a container and then place it in the fridge so that it does not crystallize at all. Um, very excited for this. How many of you want to actually also make a hand cream afterwards and not only lip balm? I know that our live was scheduled to 4 o'clock and now it's already 5:20. I just want to know if you guys would be up to actually also making a hand cream together. Um, Goat milk soap says to refrigerate. Yes, because goat milk also overheats. Anything that contains sugars tend to overheat. Let me go check on my lip balm. Hand cream. Yes, yes, hand cream, please. Okay. My oils and butters are melted. If I had the ingredients, I would. I would have loved to make hand cream with you. Oh, thank you, Carmen. Yes. Cool, guys. Okay. Are you ready to pour the lip balm inside the container? So we have two options here. We either wait for it to cool down and then we add a bit of vitamin E. Vitamin E will help preserve the shelf life of your lip balm. And then we also add essential oil. Both of these you have to wait to add because your lip balm has to be slightly cooled down. Otherwise, vitamin E it's sensitive to temperature and it degrades completely. That's why all the fancy oils like avocado oil, macadamia oil that contain vitamin E, they're not that fancy because vitamin E will degrade in a soap making environment of high pH and high temperature anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference. So I'm going to take my tin here and I'm going to add the liquid lip balm and then place it in the fridge until it solidifies and then take it out. So I'm not gonna add essential oil because it can feel a bit overwhelming to me on my lips, and I'm not interested in adding vitamin E right now because um, I'm gonna use it right away, and I don't plan to keep it for months ahead. Cool. Our lip balm is poured. Now I'm gonna place it in the fridge. How many of you made the lip balm? At what temperature do you add the vitamin E? You have to add it below 50 degrees, otherwise it will you will have problems with vitamin E because it will just degrade and it won't work anymore. Okay, guys, I'm very glad we're doing this live. I'm very glad that we are interacting. I love interacting with you. We're interacting on a daily basis. I read all the comments on YouTube. I read all your emails, and so it's amazing to do those lives every now and then. I did one in April as well. I really enjoyed it. It feels different to do a live because you feel like you're interacting. You feel like there is more of a community vibe. I hope we could all have like physical workshop where we meet and make soap all together, but of course this is not possible when we all live in different countries. Therefore, having a live is the best option. So I'm very grateful we can actually create this community of soap makers and talk about soap making, but also other skincare ingredients. How long will last this balm? It's this is a bit difficult to tell. It always depends on how much you use it. I use it every day, honestly. So it will last a really long time because it's a lot. It's 50 grams. And with 50 grams, you get this high quality lip balm that works perfectly fine. And then you just use a bit on your lips, and that's it, basically. I will do it as soon as I get home. Oh man, I just love your videos. I did my 11th soap workshop. I do them live at the local art studio. It's so much fun and people love it. Oh, that's amazing. That's fantastic Physical workshops are amazing. I also do them here. Having a live like this is amazing. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you for being here. Which type of preservative is more effective, synthetic or natural? Is it necessary to add preservative to soap? Yeah, love this question. Okay, guys, let me tell you why soap is so amazing. Soap is self preservative. You don't need a preservative in soap. Why is that? Because soap is made through oils and lye, through the traditional saponification reaction. Once lye reacts with soap, then you have soap and glycerin. But guess what? Soap has high pH. It has a pH of 9 to 10. And it has a very low water activity. All the water evaporates from the water solution. So you get something that looks like that. It has a high pH. It does not contain water. Guess what? No microbes can grow without water and in a high pH. That's why soap is self preservative and it does not need any preservatives. Right? Yes, if you're following. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get that. I guess it's about practice, practicing, practicing. I was also nervous in my first lives. Um, my first live, I was terrified. Yeah, it was a few years back on TikTok. Then I did a second live, I was 5% less terrified, but still a lot of terrified. Then I did another one, I was 5% less terrified. And at some point, you reach at a level where you become less terrified. Uh, Cream needs preservative, of course, because cream is not soap. So for cream, we're gonna use this one. It's called Coast Guard GeoGuard 221. It's an organic certified preservative, and you need one. When I started making hand cream for myself, I wasn't selling it yet. I was I was not using preservative. I was placing it in the fridge, and then I was basically storing it in the fridge to avoid contamination, and it worked. But you should use preservative, especially if you're planning to sell it. What calculator you use that you give the warning? You mean the one that I saw on the screen? This is the Soap Hub. Yes, that's the Soap Hub. It's basically. Does any of you use the Soap Hub here? Because I just updated this version. So the Soap Hub is a tool, a soap making and other skincare making tool that I developed. That basically does it shows you everything about, you can click here, what soap do you want to make? Do you want to make dish soap, saving soap, face soap, and so on? And then it gives you all the information you need about your different oils. So it teaches you, for example, which oils have high risk, low risk of rancidity, what is the fatty acid composition, which oils you should use, which oils you should not use, and all of that. And it also does other things. So if you can see up here, it also tells you what scent to use and how to make your scent long lasting. It does cost analysis, so it tells you how much your how much your soap would cost with all of these ingredients. Um, don't you think body scrubs need a preservative? So many do not add a preservative. So body scrubs, it depends. Do they contain water or is it just a mix of butters? If they only contain water, if they do not contain water, you do not need to add preservative. Basically, you could add vitamin E to make it to prevent to delay oxidation of oils. How do you know which preservative use on hand cream, body lotion, etc.? That you have to look with your supplier. So usually your supplier will tell you which ones are suitable for what. Cool. How do I get access? You can check the description of this live. It's it's through my course. I have a video course with this tool, the Soap Hub, and also a private community where we post information about soap making daily, and a video course of 20 video lessons for soap and skincare making, and access to Soap Hub as well. Okay, let's go now to here and make the hand cream. And we are gonna make 200 grams total. That will basically create 2 tins of hand cream. Um, so hand cream is mainly made with distilled water. 71% of hand cream is water. Okay, the rest is your active ingredients. So the rest is shea butter, glycerin, BTMS 50, cetyl alcohol, provitamin B5, essential oil, vitamin E, and the preservative. Now let's look at all of the ingredients. So shea butter, of course, is an occlusive, so it basically traps moisture, and glycerin is a humectant, so it draws moisture onto the skin. So glycerin draws moisture, and shea butter traps the moisture. Then we have BTMS 50. This is an ingredient that derives from coconut oil, and it's an emulsifier. So, what is an emulsifier? You have a water phase and you have an oil phase. What happens when you mix olive oil with water? It separates. I'm so sorry, I need to leave. Uh, Thank you so much, Asta, for joining. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Thank you. So what happens when you mix olive oil and water? It separates because olive oil does not react with water, does not combine with water. So you need a substance that basically reacts, that basically binds both with water and oil. And that's an emulsifier. An emulsifier will basically connect with water from one side and with the oils from the other side to create one uniform substance. And that's what happens with hand creams. So let's go ahead and first measure our distilled water. I've actually already measured it. So we measured distilled water in a bowl here. Um, and then I'm gonna take another bowl, and in here, in the other bowl, I'm going to measure some of my other ingredients. So I'm gonna start with shea butter, and for this experiment, I'm actually gonna use beef tallow again, just to see how it turns out. So I'm gonna use, instead of using shea butter, I'm gonna use 20 grams of beef tallow. I have emulsifying wax. Will that work instead of BTMS 50? Yes, that could work. I'm not sure about the concentration, if it will work on the same concentration, but it should work. Okay. And bear in mind, when I say I want you to think like a formulator, I mean that what happens here, we have an example. What happens if we switch shea butter to beef tallow? Okay. You can substitute shea butter to beef tallow, but beef tallow will make our hand cream slightly more waxy and slightly more protective, actually. And then here you can also see that you can adjust your hand cream to make a face cream. So you guys can see my screen, right? Right? Yes, if you can see my screen, or if I'm just showing all of this like that. Okay, cool. Then then you can see it's visible. So a hand cream, actually this hand cream, I also use it on my face. It works perfectly fine. But if you want to make it lighter so that it's more suitable for your face, then you can just increase the water concentration. So from 71, you can use 76% water. You can slightly decrease the shea butter concentration from 10% to 5% to basically make it lighter. That's the difference between a hand cream and a face cream. Just that. It's basically that it's a lighter texture. So this is exactly what I want you to, how I want you to think. When I say think like a formulator, I mean that you have a recipe, a hand cream, and you say, okay, how do I adjust this recipe to convert it into a face cream without actually buying completely new ingredients? And you see that you just basically adjust a few things and you get a completely new product. But as I said, I actually use the hand cream on my face as well, and I love the consistency of it. So I'm gonna stick with that, and I'm gonna use beef tallow instead of shea butter. Cool. So I added 20 grams of shea butter. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take our beautiful glycerin, an amazing ingredient, and I'm gonna add 17.8 grams. And I know some of you are already part of the private community with the video course and the soap hub. And you will ask me, Perry, what is that here? This is actually the updated version of soap hub. And I just updated the soap hub on the private community as well, so you have access to it now. Before it only had the soap making module. Now it also has the other skincare products like lip balm, shea butter, lip balm, deodorants, shampoo bars, and so on. Okay, we added our glycerin. Let's go ahead and add the BTMS 50, which is our emulsifier. How to convert BTMS 50 to BTMS 25? BTMS 25 contains more cetearyl alcohol. That's correct. I have to do some calculations here. I cannot answer this question out of the top of my head. Actually, um, it will it, you just need to add um, something to adjust the concentration, but I cannot tell you right now. I have to look it up. Yeah. So we're gonna add 9.8 grams of BTMS 50. Okay, it's 9.77. That's okay. We will survive. Then we're gonna add cetyl alcohol, and cetyl alcohol also derives from coconut oil, and it gives a lot of thickness to our hand cream. Uh, and for example, if you want to create a food cream is actually, you need it to be quite thick. You can increase cetyl alcohol concentration slightly, and that will lead to a formulation that is better for foods. For feet, sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add 3.8 grams of cetyl alcohol. Perfect. Now, do I add the rest? Do I add provitamin B5? Do I add essential oil? Do I add preservative and vitamin E? No, I don't add it yet. Why is that? First, we're gonna melt this down and then we're gonna add the rest because the rest are heat sensitive, so we don't wanna add them now. So I'm gonna go ahead, put it on a double boiler, and now we are back. But tell me, guys, tell me about your background and your story with soap making. Um, I know some of you already from the Soap Hub community, like Nikos. So I know how some of you have already joined and shared your story. But tell me about your story in soap making. Like, when did you start soap making, and what made you start soap making? Me personally, I started. I basically so I grew up in Greece, in Athens. And back in 2013, I got admitted to the chemical engineering department of in Athens to study basically my bachelor's there. And the second semester, we had organic chemistry. And this is where I saw saponification for the first time. And that's where I actually got intrigued. So I wasn't intrigued before by using soap. I think before that, I was just the typical guy who used like the all-in-one, you know, I had basically this all-in-one thing that was both a shampoo, a conditioner, a body soap, a hand soap. you know, uh, I was basically washing with that, and I didn't even look at the ingredients. I didn't even care. But then when I was 18, I looked at the saponification reaction. I loved chemistry, and that's how I got intrigued for the first time. Um, by looking at the chemistry of saponification. Then I was also intrigued by essential oils, by perfumes, since I was very young. And that's how I started doing this, basically, and making soap and other skincare products. I started recently and I just like making things. Right now, I only wash with my soaps. Yes, I've used basically everything. Like everything I make, I use it as a skincare for myself. So I don't buy any skincare. Like I use shampoo, conditioner bars, hand creams, deodorants, lip balms, soap, face soap, shaving soap. I make everything myself. The only thing that I don't make myself is toothpaste. That's the only thing. I make dish soap, I make floor soap. So all of this I make myself. But toothpaste, honestly, I don't know. It's the only thing I haven't gotten into because I'm just a bit, I'm like, should I do it myself? Like, I don't know. I feel like there is a lot of research I need to do on toothpaste and I haven't done it yet. I've been making soap for my family for more than 5 years now. Just basic soap. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to us using all the dangerous ingredients found in soaps. Now I want to make in order to sell. Thank you, Carmen. And you know, guys, especially here in Europe, when you go to the supermarket, to the store to buy soap, a lot of times you find liquid soap, it says hand soap. In reality, it's not soap, it's not real soap. It's a mixture of surfactants and detergents. So if you actually look at the label, it says sodium lauryl sulfate because real soap comes from the saponification reaction between oils and lye. In Europe, you can still name something soap even though it doesn't come from the saponification reaction. In the US, it's illegal. So in the US, you cannot say this is a soap if it does not come from the saponification reaction. That's why in Europe, you still see soaps, you still see products labeled as soap, even though it's not a soap. So yeah, I decided to start making my own soap and products because of the endocrine disruptors that's in mainstream soaps. That's led to making hand creams, facial lotions, etc. Thank you. And endocrine disruptors, you should always pay attention to fragrances. Fragrance, especially like fragrances, are synthetic. As I said, I use fragrance oils, but I always say make sure to use safe fragrance oils that do not contain any phthalates or parabens because those are hormonal disruptors. So, how do I know if a fragrance oil is safe or not? Go to your supplier. If it's a trustworthy supplier, I buy from uwis.nl. They always tell you, they say, okay, this fragrance oil, here's the composition. So you can check the composition and you will find out if it has phthalates or parabens. I started with melt and pour. Watching your videos have encouraged me to learn cold process. Thank you. I'm very glad to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that. It's one of the most beautiful things actually to see people, telling me that they got encouraged to start soap making. I'm very new to soap making. I started because my family has extra sensitive skin and I want to help. So far body butters and deodorant have worked for us, so why not? So deodorant, you make your own deodorant. I guess if you make your own deodorant, you should pay attention to make deodorant that does not contain baking soda because baking soda is basically a very harsh neutralizer. So, what baking soda does is that it increases the pH of your armpit so that bacteria cannot grow in there, but it can be quite harsh. That's why a lot of people use magnesium hydroxide. You can see this recipe here. I'm using magnesium hydroxide instead of baking soda, and that works perfectly fine. Um, and this is a really great deodorant recipe. And sensitive skin soap, you can actually make, I can show you here. Um you see, you can select sensitive skin soap, and then the recommendation here is to use something with a high concentration of olive oil, then a bit of shea butter, a bit of castor oil, and basically low or no coconut oil. So when we make sensitive skin soap, we remove coconut oil completely because coconut oil is amazing at creating bubbles, but that also means that it dries out the skin a bit because bubbles are very cleansing and they remove fat. They remove the natural oils from your skin. Amazing. It's just so beautiful that I'm interacting with people all over the world and we get to share this and make soap, make skincare products live together. This is amazing. I think on the next live, we will make actual soap. Cool. So let me go check my cream, my hand cream, to figure out if it has melted completely so that then we can basically mix it with the other ingredients and make our amazing hand cream. I was always interested in soap making, but it was the skin problem of English Staffordshire Bull Terrier that pushed me to make a soap for him to stop his scratching. Wow. Okay, so you made soap for your dog. This is okay. That's very interesting. I guess it's a soap with no coconut oil as well. Where can I find the fragrance for the deodorant ambroxant and lad? I forgot the word. Please let me know. What is that? You mean for the ingredient ambroxan? So ambroxan is an ingredient. and it smells amazing. It's a synthetic ingredient, and it smells like ambergris. Ambergris is the most expensive perfume ingredient in the world. It smells like ocean breeze, basically. It's very intense, very long lasting. It's one of my favorite perfume ingredients. I buy the synthetic version because it's 100 times cheaper, and it also does not involve any whale hunting. So there are some concerns with whale hunting when it comes to the natural ingredient because ambergris comes from whales. So I use the synthetic one for this reason, and I buy it from Perfumers World. Okay, so our our hand cream now, the shea butter, the beef tallow, BTMS 50 cetyl alcohol have melted. Let's go ahead and take it out of the double boiler. So now I have two bowls. One is with oils, glycerin, BTMS 50, and the other one is plain water. I have to actually warm the plain water as well in order for our recipe to work out. Okay, let me now add provitamin B5, panthenol. Okay, where is that? Just a moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 3.8 grams of provitamin B5. And provitamin B5 is an amazing ingredient. And what it does, it helps with skin repair. So it's very important to have it, especially for winter, and also for summer, but it's very helpful during winter. And then, so we have now our provitamin B5 added. I'm just gonna slightly mix so that it goes everywhere. Cool. So I'm gonna bring the water. So now they're both warm, and we're going to mix them together with a stick blender. So I'm adding the water, and I'm going to mix everything together. Have you used cocoon butter or berry wax? No, I haven't actually. Haven't used cocoon butter. Um, I know cocoon butter is very popular in India, actually, but I haven't used it myself. So basically now we have our BTMS 50, our glycerin, our beef tallow, our distilled water all mixing together. And as I'm mixing, it starts actually emulsifying. It starts becoming one. This is the beauty of emulsification, basically. Oh no. If you don't have a blender, then yeah, you can still hand whisk, but that takes time and it's very laborious. Oh yeah. So our hand cream is getting there. Now it's quite cooled down, so it's a good time to. Oops. Yeah, you saw that my stick blender fell down. Okay, but now it's a good time to basically add our rest of our ingredients, which are heat sensitive. So we're gonna add our preservative, our essential oil, and our vitamin E. The recipe you're creating, would it keep eczema prone skin hydrated? That's a very specific question. So I'm not an expert in eczema. I cannot really answer this. Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm not an expert in eczema and how it works. I don't have any medical experience also on that, so I cannot really answer that question. So let me check the temperature. 39 degrees. That's safe to add basically the rest of our ingredients. So I'm gonna go ahead with 1 gram of preservative. I'm using organic certified preservative. Then I'm gonna go ahead with 0.2 grams of vitamin E. So very little basically. And then I am using a safe fragrance oil for this recipe, and I'm using 0.8%. This is not a lot, but I don't want to use a lot because I put this on my hands. I also put it on my face actually. I call it hand cream because it has a hand cream consistency, but personally, I love using it on my face. Um, so I will add just basically 1.6 grams. And now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna mix again to make sure it's mixed very well. Look at that. Can you see, guys? It starts becoming a hand cream. It starts having the consistency of a hand cream. And once it cools down to room temperature, it will be the perfect consistency. We are ready, guys. We are ready. So now I'm gonna take 2 metal tins. And by the way, I'm gonna take out of the fridge the lip balm right now. Here's our lip balm, guys. Look how beautiful it is. You can actually use it right away. Wow. So right now I have 2 metal tin cans that have been sterilized with, I just placed them in boiling water for a few seconds. And now I'm just going to basically add the hand cream inside there. Can you actually see? Yeah. Perfect. Hand cream is ready. Guys, today we made hand cream. We made lip balm. So some of you actually made the lip balm live with me. You can already use it. Like you can try it out right now. If you're still here, please test your lip balm. Tell me what do you think about it. Soap with shea butter, olive oil, coconut oil, and neem oil. Neem oil is anti-inflammatory and reduce skin irritation. For the eczema. Hi Perry, I love your videos. I learned a lot, especially the importance of oil components. Have you tried making soap with 100% sheep tallow? I find it interesting having a complete balanced profile. No, I have not made soap with 100% sheep tallow or beef tallow, but I have made soap with 50% beef tallow, 20% coconut oil, and then olive oil and castor oil, and it's phenomenal. It's very long lasting. I highly recommend it. The balm is perfect. So you made it perfect. I'm very glad to hear that. I'm very glad that it worked fine. I was sure it's gonna work. I mean, I've made this recipe 100 times, and now I'm testing the hand cream. It smells amazing, and it's This hand cream is fail safe recipe. I've tried it a million times now, basically. So, and I also use it on my face. So it works really, really well. Is it okay to cover now? Yes, if it's completely solidified, it's totally fine. Amazing. Well, guys, we made so many things today. And as you will see here, we have different recipes. In the hand cream recipe, as the one we did now, you can see that you can adjust it if you want to adjust, if you want to replace shea butter with beef tallow, or if you want to adjust it for a face cream, you have all the instructions here, basically. Um, and then some of you said about oils, um, and you will see here that you have all the information needed on the oils guide, which will make your life easier, especially if you're one of those people who are starting out and you don't know what oils to choose. This will basically make your life easier because it will tell you which ones actually lead to rancidity, which ones are expensive and don't really add much value to your soap. Um, I will make both during the daylight hours. Let me know how it goes. I really enjoyed this live. I learned many things from you, and I also from the chat. Let's make deodorant next. Oh yeah, deodorant is my favorite one. Like I love making deodorant actually. Um, so there are many different types of deodorant. You can make a deodorant with only coconut oil and baking soda. So some people like to do that because they have this at home. They have those ingredients at home. So you just get coconut oil from yourself, a bit of baking soda that you use for cooking, and you have a deodorant. But it's quite, I would say, it's a bit weird because it feels a bit greasy, and baking soda can be a bit irritating. So if you want something more sophisticated, then you use a deodorant recipe with beeswax, jojoba oil, coconut oil, shea butter, um, and magnesium hydroxide, and also with arrowroot powder or cornstarch. Do you make hot process soap? Yes, I make hot process soap. I make Dualai shaving soap, and this is a phenomenal soap as well. Cool. Well, guys, I really enjoyed this live. If you've been here from the very beginning, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting for me, despite the fact that I had this technical difficulty on doing this live today. I really appreciated that, so many people showed up anyways, and they actually watched. So thank you so much for that. I'm very grateful for that. And again, I apologize for the small delay in the start. I wasn't intending to do that. I thought I had prepped everything correctly. I watched a 1 hour YouTube video yesterday to make sure my stream is gonna go fine. Um, but apparently there was some technical error that I didn't anticipate. But those things happen. Um, it is what it is. That's life. But I'm very grateful for you that you stayed all the way and you waited, and then we managed to have an amazing life. Um, Need to go now, but thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for this live. Thank you so much. Perry, where can I find your email address? I'd like to send you an email. Let me just give you my email address here. So I just wrote it on the chat. Looking forward to the next one. Hope it is soon. It will be soon. Yeah, I will plan one soon. Thank you guys so much for this live. I really enjoyed it. Καλό απόγευμα. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Thank you guys so much for staying. So I will see you guys next time, and I will also see you on YouTube. We are always interacting through comments. We're always talking through emails, so that's really nice. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, Luna. Bye bye, guys. Have a great rest of the day. Here it's actually 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So I guess where you are, the time is completely different. So whatever time it is, I hope you have a great rest of the day or night. And I'll see you guys next time. See you guys. Bye bye. Thanks a lot. Bye, Michaela. Bye bye. Thank you.